Welcome into the show today. Thank you for making a Minnesota Vikings podcast by Minnesota Tim a part of your day. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening somewhere else, hit that follow button. Thank you for going on this podcasting journey with me. This podcast is 100% honest, 100% of the time with a bit of sarcasm. JJ McCarthy, the Minnesota Vikings now and the Minnesota Vikings future, went on a bunch of different shows yesterday. Specifically, the Rich Eisen show. He went on an SI show, and he's answering a bunch of different questions during his Super Bowl media tour. So I've got those clips, and that's what we're going to do on this podcast today. We're going to react to those clips and react to what he had to say. Here's a clip of JJ McCarthy talking about his mentality on the Rich Eisen show.
Okay. But how does that sit with you? You know what I mean? Obviously, you're a quarterback. You're a competitor. You're a control freak. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the position you're in right now. How does that all sit with you, JJ?
You know, it's just all I can ask for is a fair opportunity. You know, that's the one thing that, I feel like everybody's given, and it's fundamental. And, when money gets involved, things get complicated and, reps get skewed, and there's different things that come into the whole, political world that everyone talks about. But, I really just have to focus on controlling what I can control. My feelings don't matter. Like, I'm not getting any grace. There's no sympathy. Like, this is the big leagues. And just being able to, approach it with just steadfast, narrow, tunnel vision on just the task at hand, which is that workout that day, that film study, that extra, little thing I'm going to do for my fiance that day, and just really just staying in the moment, because, that gives me the most peace of mind through all this.
It's funny to hear McCarthy talk, because when he answers that question, he sounds like a 5th, 6th, 7th, or undrafted rookie. I just want fair reps. I don't want this thing to be politicized. When the truth of the matter is that JJ McCarthy is going to get every single opportunity from the Minnesota Vikings to be a successful NFL quarterback, because he is the Minnesota Vikings investment. The Vikings selected him as the 10th overall pick. And when you are any first-round talent selected in the top 10 or top 32, you're going to be given every single opportunity, even through failures, to succeed. Because if they succeed, the organization looks good. The general manager and head coach, they look like they know what they're doing. And McCarthy, he talked about the politicized, and he talked about the money. He just wants fair reps. It's going to be politicized in JJ McCarthy's direction, because he is the Minnesota Vikings investment. An undrafted free agent rookie. You think about a guy like that. And how often did those guys get a real chance to succeed in the NFL? They might get in one preseason game, and if they perform bad, they're cut and they're done. There's no more future. You better find a different practice squad to sign on, because that team is giving up on you immediately. Whereas if a top 10 pick fails his first preseason game or his first regular season game, he just needs more time. He just needs more reps. He's got to look at the game tape. We've got to work better with them. We've got to figure out what strengths suit him best, and we need to design the play calling for him. So it's funny, because it is a winner's mentality. It isn't a, I deserve this mentality, and I appreciate that about the comments. But the truth of the matter is this: McCarthy plays in a politicized position, and he was drafted in a politicized spot. Because if you're drafted in the top 10, they are going to give you every single chance to succeed. I appreciate his mentality. That is a winner's mentality. He's not walking into the situation based on his answer thinking that he deserves this and he deserves that. And that's not how he should walk into the situation. That's a leadership mentality, and that's good. However, his view on the situation is not exactly accurate in how he personally is going to be viewed within the Minnesota Vikings organization. All right. JJ McCarthy, clip number 2.
Quarterback rookie class, JJ, has gotten so much attention. You got Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, both candidates for Offensive Rookie of the Year. With you getting back into the swing of things as you get healthy, how hungry are you to have your skill set added into that conversation of this great rookie class?
I'm just say it's a caged animal that's been climbing uphill for a long time.
I love it.
I'm not entirely sure what that means. A caged animal that's been walking uphill for a long time. How can a caged animal be walking uphill for a long time? I don't get it. Anyways, I get where he's trying to go with. He's got a lot of fire and energy and motivation to show that he was worthy of a top 10 pick. And I believe him when he says that. I believe that JJ McCarthy is all about football all the time. And if you're a football fan, you love that. If you're his fiance, you probably don't love that. And he seems like a guy that wants to watch game tape until 11 o'clock at night. He seems like a guy after the Minnesota Vikings win isn't going to jump on teammates' shoulders and celebrate like they just won the Super Bowl. He seems like a guy that after a win, he's already on to the next week. He's a 1-0 guy. We're 1-0 this week, and next week we need to go 1-0. He's a classic bulletin board cliche quarterback that all he wants to do is win. I think he showcased that at Michigan, and I think he's been showcasing that not just in these comments, but since he's been a Minnesota Viking through preseason and training camp. This guy wants to win. Mentally, JJ McCarthy is a winner. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean he is a winner, but he has a winner's mentality because you think about his comments and his approach and his mindset, and that's a winner. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to translate into a winner on the field, but at least off the field, JJ McCarthy has a winning mentality. All right, JJ McCarthy, clip number 3.
Here on the Rich Eisen Show, what has Kevin O'Connell told you about what's to come and your opportunity? What has been communicated to you, JJ?
With Coach O'Connell, he's one of the most genuine guys I know. And, our conversations have, just been nothing about the greatest thing for the Minnesota Vikings. At the end of the day, there's a lot of things that are certainly above my pay grade and some things above his pay grade. And, he's the one that has the pen last on the field, and that's about all I know. So just being able to just be in the moment with him every time I get the chance to interact with him and really pick his brain, because, those are a lot of moments that I can miss up thinking about the future, thinking about the uncertainties that, I can't do anything about. So it's really just, optimizing each moment and each time I have with that great mind of the game, but most importantly, a great freaking human being.
Yeah, and obviously you can't control what happens in free agency, right? So you're just going to have to sit back and learn, like everybody else, what the plans are for Sam Darnold internally and what he might do externally. That's basically it for you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm just going to control what I can control and attack each day with enthusiasm on demand.
There we go. Who's got it better than you, right?
The Minnesota Vikings have made it known that they think JJ McCarthy can at least be a solid starter in the league. And that report came out by Albert Breer recently. And when they made that known, the Minnesota Vikings have led breadcrumbs of what their offseason decision is going to look like. Regardless of whether or not the Minnesota Vikings bring back Sam Darnold on a 1 or 2 year deal, which I don't think is going to happen, JJ McCarthy is still the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings future. And the reason why Darnold's not going to come back on the Vikings is because there's going to be a team out there that offers him more per year. And the Minnesota Vikings don't want to commit 100% to what Sam Darnold has to offer them next year and beyond. So with that being said, the Minnesota Vikings perspective is this. JJ McCarthy can be a solid starter in the NFL at the bare minimum. And while he's doing that, we can build the pieces around JJ McCarthy into a playoff contending squad, into a team that can win playoff games and perhaps even contend for a Super Bowl one day. So JJ McCarthy, maybe he's being right and honest and saying what's true and that he's not a part of those conversations. Well, it's because he doesn't have to be. The Minnesota Vikings know that JJ McCarthy is going to be QB1 in the very near future, either this next season, which is most likely, or the season after that. The Vikings are not trading McCarthy for a Myles Garrett. They are not seeking a trade partner somewhere else outside the Vikings organization. And McCarthy, those 3 clips, he's been very consistent. He didn't act like he deserved something. He just wants to be a part of the process. He was very complimentary of Kevin O'Connell and the way he coaches. But the true, honest fact of all of the situation is that McCarthy does play in a politicized position. He will be the Minnesota Vikings QB1. I love that he's motivated and inspired to prove that he belongs in the Jaden Daniels, the Bo Nixes, the Michael Penix Jr.'s, and even the Caleb Williams of the NFL draft that he was selected in. So it's going to be a fascinating offseason for McCarthy and for the Vikings, because when OTAs and training camp happens, we are already going to know if Sam Darnold is going to be back. And if he's not back, it's McCarthy's team. Or at least he's battling for it, potentially with Daniel Jones, if Daniel Jones doesn't leave for another team in free agency. So lots to look forward to and lots to discuss and speculate on as free agency approaches very, very soon, and as the quarterback decision has to be made very, very soon. At least the near future needs to be decided. Is it going to be Darnold? Is it going to be McCarthy? Is it going to be Jones? Or is Darnold, are you going to let him walk? So lots to look forward to and lots to discuss coming up very, very soon. Thank you for watching this episode and for making this podcast a part of your day.